In this video, we're going to go over how to set up your Plaid bank sync. To do that, what you're going to want to do is go to the accounting dashboard, and you'll see your list of journals or your accounts. And I'm going to go ahead and set up a sync for this fake account here. I'm going to go ahead and click on this 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner of this card and click on configuration. Once I load, you'll want to make sure that the automatic bank synchronization is turned on, and then that will expose this option down here. You're not going to select a Plaid bank account yet because we haven't configured or linked it. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and click on this configure button. That is going to open up the Plaid interface to where we can actually go through and sync our bank account and in essence log in or give Plaid the credentials and permissions to get your transactional data. So this interface just lets you know what we can and can't do. Go ahead and click on continue. And from here, you're going to search your bank account. My test account is Mountain America Credit Union. So we'll go ahead and pull in this account. And you're going to have to come in here and enter your bank account details. I'm going to pause the video and do this step. Awesome. Once you enter your credentials, it should go through an authorizing step. As your credential pop up, a credential entry, it may pop up a separate window to enter your bank details, depending on your bank account. So once you enter your credentials, it should give you a page like this. And this test account, we've got a couple of accounts that it says, hey, there's multiple accounts linked. You're just going to go ahead and say continue. And then the last step is to click continue again, and it's going to go back to Stride, and give it a few seconds, it'll pop up this box. So in this case, we have multiple accounts that it found. If there's any of these accounts that are maybe a personal account or you don't want linked, maybe they're for a separate company, all you do is come in here and we're going to say do not link, and we can come in here and do the same thing. I don't want to link this one. The only one I want to link is this bottom one, and it says link to an existing journal. And it's going to go through and say, okay, well, right now this is the only journal in the system. This is the account that we started with. The only journal in the system that doesn't already have a bank sync tied to it. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can also, let's go back up and say, well, I don't actually, this is a legitimate account and I haven't created it as a journal. You can also create a new journal from this interface and it'll create it for you automatically. Up here, you have your fetch statements from. So you can come back here and say, if you're doing it maybe after the fact, I can come back and say, well, let's go ahead and just pull from March 1st and select my date. Depending on how far back you go, it may take a little bit to sync those. But that's my basic configuration setup. I'm going to go ahead and click on synchronize now, and it's going to go through and save that. It's going to create the new journal because we asked it to on that one account. And then it's going to go and do a initial sync and import. So you'll see this is the one it created, and this is the one that we set up the sync for. If we open up this one, you can see where it created it and synced all the way back through the first. Obviously, it didn't pull in the first because it didn't have a transaction on the first. You'll notice the very first time, sometimes we'll do this opening statement just so that the math adds up. You can leave that, or if you have an opening entry in your system, typically we've already counted for this, and so this would be removed, and then you might have to adjust your starting and ending balances. But from there, it should be set up. It'll tell you here the next sync is going to run on the next schedule time. You can also manually sync them by clicking sync now. It'll go through and it'll say, hey, it was successful. And if you go back in there, and if there was any new transactions, they should be in there. From there, if everything looks good and verified, you can go ahead and post these statements. We've got it set up to do them on a daily basis. So every day it's going to group your transactions, and you can go through in here and post them. And now you can go through and start your reconciliation processes.